Get in on the action this season with Underdog's Pick'em game. Select higher or lower between 2 and 8 players and compete for up to 325 times your entry. Use code DIRECTOR when signing up to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Yo to Bolt fam, it's the Director. Chargers fans. It's been a weird one, man. Chargers training camp has officially kicked off, and it's one of the craziest kickoffs training camp that I can remember in a while. You know what? I think the big storyline here, everybody knows by now, right? The reason I'm wearing 81 on the show today, not Big Mike, man. Oh, dude, Mike Williams officially announced his retirement yesterday, shortly into training camp. This caught a lot of Chargers fans, including myself, off guard, man. This was going to be the comeback year in a season that we really did need a veteran X-receiver. This is going to cause some waves, man. The Chargers are going to have to find some way to replace Mike Williams as an outside guy, but more than anything, that chemistry between him and Justin Herbert, not something that's going to be easily replaced on this roster. So we got some stuff to talk about. The Mike Williams retirement, some of the fun stuff we saw in day one of training camp. There's a lot of storylines to go over because, yeah, again, this is one of the crazier ones I can remember in a while. Before we do kick things off, man, shout out to the sponsor, Underdog. Use code DIRECTOR to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Newcomers, take advantage of the offer on screen, man. Who's taking advantage? Who's getting in on the Underdog this season, man? It's very exciting. I got some fun stuff planned for Underdog in the NFL as we do get closer to the Hall of Fame game and the season very, very soon, man. Before we do kick off, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. Small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, bell notification. Helps me out a lot. Let's get into it. Lights, camera, action.
Who's got it better than us?
Into the end zone, Charger fans are witnesses to history.
A crazy start to Chargers training camp 2025. Let's get into it, man. The Chargers would find out this, what was it? This last Thursday, that Mike Williams is going to be retiring from the NFL. This would have been his last season. In the 1 year that he was bouncing around the league, I think there was maybe some things going on in the background that provoked this decision by Mike Williams. And that's probably going to be the biggest question I want to ask first, dude. Why did Mike Williams decide to hang up the cleats right now? It feels like there was a really good opportunity here for Mike to jump in with Justin Herbert again, find maybe another year or two left in his career at very minimum. You know, the guy isn't exactly, 35, 36 years old. And that made me feel like there was some stuff maybe happening in the background, whether it be an undisclosed injury. I know he was starting on the PUP list. Maybe there was, a lot of competition in terms of wide receiver all of a sudden. And maybe too many, to fit Mike Williams into the picture this season. Whatever the case may be, Mike Williams has moved on, which is going to cause some serious issues for the Chargers at wide receiver. Some people may think, it's not that big of a deal. I might be one of those people, and some people think that we do need to go after a veteran option. But before we do dig into all of that stuff, man, and we've done this once before, but we're going to do it again, man. I just got to say, dude, thank you to Mike Williams, dude. What a career with the Chargers. One of my personal favorite wide receivers I've watched in my time as a fan. I'm a big fan of those kinds of wide receivers, man. Mike Williams, Vincent Jackson, it really does feel like that was some of the funnest Chargers football that you'll remember, some of the greatest catches you'll remember as a Chargers fan. We're off of some of the guys like that, and Mike Williams is definitely no exception. There was a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but in the end, some of the biggest, best plays in the Phillip Rivers and Justin Herbert era were involved with number 81 there, man. So we're wearing 81 today as a tribute. Thank you, Mike Williams. You provided some of the funnest memories I will have and carry with me as a Chargers fan going forward, and we really do wish him the best no matter where he goes and what his next, step is in life. A lot of us very disappointed that he will not be with the team this season, but we do still wish him the best. Now, to get into some of your guys' comments, because there are a lot of Chargers fans that hit me up on this, man. I think I put a video out like an hour before this news broke, and I saw a lot of Chargers fans really pushing the question, what do we do now? Where is Mike Williams going? What's the situation look like at weapons for Justin Herbert? Well, there are a couple options that are being floated around, right, by fans, some beat writers. Saw, I think, one on Sports Center the other day as well. One of the first ones I'm seeing mentioned quite a bit is another reunion. The Chargers bringing back Keenan Allen. This is not something I'm opposed to, by the way. But is it the move to replace Keenan Allen, or I should say Mike Williams' role that he was going to be providing this season? Not necessarily. Now, Keenan Allen can be a pretty decent outside receiver, right? He is one of the best due to his route running, but maybe not the fastest. He's certainly, a bit up there in age at this point. He maybe has not the speed he did, when he was a young gun, and even then he wasn't the fastest guy. But he can play outside. The question is he the most, unique option that the Chargers could find for a perimeter receiver? I don't know. If we were to sign a Keenan Allen today, I would expect him to fulfill a role in the slot maybe a little bit more often than not. Reminds me again a lot of what maybe Larry Fitzgerald did in his later years. Like, yeah, he could play outside. He's obviously one of the greatest to ever do it. But in order to keep the longevity in his career going and a few extra seasons, tacked on to the end of his career, who was the coach back then? I think it was Bruce Arians, right, of the Cardinals, said, you got to go into the slot, my man. And he really thrived there for a few more years. I remember him being relevant in fantasy football and in winning games and putting up stats. He was awesome. I could see the same thing for Keenan Allen. Do the Chargers need that on the roster right now, though? I don't really think so. I think the Chargers have plenty of options for slot receiver. Of course, you got Ladd McConkey. You could put Quentin Johnston in there a lot. Tight end may become a factor there a little bit too with Oronde Gadsden. And then Keandre Lambert-Smith could be a guy underneath too. I really do think the Chargers have that position covered in terms of starters and depth. So I'm not quite sure if Keenan Allen would fit that. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like if you were to sign Keenan Allen and say, hey, this is your slot. We have Ladd on the outside, which Ladd likes to play on the outside. He doesn't like being labeled a slot receiver. That would free up the Chargers to keep space on the perimeter, right, with him and Trey Harris. So I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know if it's the right move in terms of, fit for our immediate needs at the position. Another receiver that's getting a lot of talk lately has been Amari Cooper, which Amari Cooper definitely can be that perimeter guy. I think we saw it was the Bills that he last played for, right? Was it the Bills? I don't remember. But either way, Amari Cooper throughout his career has been a very solid perimeter receiver, one that the Chargers were linked to quite a bit this last offseason before drafting two receivers, in the draft this year. And it's because, he does a decent job at getting separation and getting open on the outside and finding that weapon for his quarterback. And even though, again, him and Keenan Allen, those guys, maybe around the same age, I do think that you can rely on him on the perimeter a little bit more than a guy like Keenan Allen, which is why that, I think right now he may be the number one option for me. As in terms of like a free agent. If you were to continue looking outside the organization, a trade may not be a bad option either. I saw Sean Merriman pushing this idea on Twitter yesterday. What about Scary Terry? He goes on Twitter. He's like, hey, man, Scary Terry. What's up, dude? What are you doing? How you doing? Catch me up on how's life. How's things going? And I think it's because obviously the Chargers would benefit from adding Terry McLaurin to the roster. The question may be here, though, is it the right move in terms of compensation? Is it the right fit in terms of, longevity? Because obviously Terry McLaurin now, he's 29 or 30 years old, right? So he's getting up there. He's probably in the last, 2, 3, 4 years of his career, certainly the last couple of years of the dominance that we've seen in his career so far. But there's no denying that he would be a great move this season, right? You got yourself a nice speed perimeter wide receiver who would be a great pairing with Justin Herbert. The question is what the price tag would be and whether or not the Commanders would be willing to deal him. Right now, it feels like there's a pretty good chance, right? I think Terry McLaurin has made it very clear that he's unhappy. You can make a man very happy with a nice contract and put all that behind you, but the question was whether or not that's going to happen. We don't know quite yet. So Terry McLaurin, definitely an interesting option. I would definitely be happy for it, but maybe it's not my first choice, just considering, we'd have him for a couple of years, but we would still have to address a permanent option sooner rather than later via the draft or otherwise. But what about internally, right? The Chargers do have some options to fulfill that Mike Williams role internally, and I think the most obvious for me right now is going to be Trey Harris, who did report to camp today, by the way. In time to record this video, I saw the news on my phone. I was like, yes, Trey Harris is there. We're going to start getting some highlights here really soon. Very, very exciting stuff. But, you know, what Mike Williams provided on the outside, you're going to see some of that from Trey Harris this season and going forward. Trey Harris had a very good contested catch rate, you know, coming into the NFL. He's got that big body that you're looking for. He's got the separation certainly that you're looking for, certainly in man coverage as well. He can be that guy. And honestly, when you guys start seeing him in training camp and the way that Justin Herbert's going to be utilizing him, when you start seeing the chemistry build between him and a receiver that likes to go up and get it, you're going to see the same or similar trust that Herbert had with Mike Williams. Herbert, as a quarterback, I would say likes that kind of weapon. Came into the NFL with Mike Williams. He had that option to go to, and he was not afraid to take those shots. I think Trey Harris is going to provide some similar upside there and earn similar trust in Justin Herbert to continue taking those shots, but to the rookie this time. But I think Trey Harris, you know, yes, he's not going to be the dominant, I'm going to say 70-30 guy that, you know, Mike Williams was, but he does provide that similar, you know, wide receiver role on the roster, which I like quite a bit. And I think you're going to see a lot of that, right? The question starts to become who slides in at wide receiver 3, right? And again, some of the options that we listed, Keenan Allen, Mari Cooper, Terry McLaurin, those guys are certainly not bad options if you want perimeter guys, but I do want the flexibility for Ladd McConkey too to go in and out of the slot. So another guy that I think some people are asking, well, what about Quentin Johnson? What about Quentin Johnston? Yeah, Quentin Johnston can certainly fulfill some of that, you know, but he's going to be more your Z receiver, right? Let's say you've got Trey Harris on the outside, you got Ladd at the slot, and you got this guy at Z. You know, you want to see Quentin Johnston utilized his strengths more often than not. We have seen what Quentin looks like on the outside as a perimeter guy. We've seen what Quentin Johnston looks like in contested catch situations. Sometimes he can be good, but when we put him in the Mike Williams role his rookie year, it was a disaster. And I don't want to put Quentin into that situation again. I want to put him in a situation where he's allowed to thrive. He's off to a shaky start, I'm not going to lie. From some of the stuff I saw, some of the clips I watched on day one of training camp, he's got a ways to go. But, you know, it's still not a lost cause. I think that giving him the competition at wide receiver 3 is a very healthy move for him. But he's not going to be one of those guys, I think, on the outside to be challenging, you know, for a Mike Williams type role. Another guy that is kind of starting to make waves in training camp, Jalen Reagor. I have heard a couple of things about him. Justin Herbert, obviously, this highlight catch from Jalen Reagor is going to start making, you know, its way through social media, which is definitely very exciting. You're starting to see, you know, this Justin Herbert classic, you know, rookie and first couple of seasons, Justin Herbert emerge in this offense, which is very exciting to think about. And the weapons are going to continue giving him opportunities for stuff like that. And Jalen Reagor can technically provide some outside, you know, work for Justin Herbert with that speed. He's definitely not the tiniest guy out there. But being able to stretch the field is going to be the biggest strength for Jalen Reagor. He has had some issues similar to Quentin Johnston holding on to the football, but that's not going to be the issue in this highlight right here. I mean, what a catch by Jalen Reagor. We'll have to wait and see how much of an impact he makes on the actual team, on the actual season. You know, he's only had a handful of catches, handful of even targets with this team since he was signed, but, you know, that speed is going to be something that keeps him in consideration here. One of my favorite options, though, and one that's starting to emerge a little bit more in the eyes of Chargers fans, has been our 5th-round selection in Keandre Lambert-Smith. This dude has been making some plays, man. He's been looking good. He's been turning some heads. And he's like one of those guys that I've labeled as a sleeper for this team going into the year. Obviously, Chargers fans, have seen some nice success with a fifth-round selection starting last season, right? Was it Cam Hart or Tarheeb Still, one of the guys in the fifth round last year? Really, both of them really, hit the ground running in their NFL careers. And some people may say, a fifth rounders need to earn their spot. You want to develop them, this and that. I honestly think if they're ready, let's get going. We've seen this team provide that with these guys in their first season, and Lambert Smith is already starting to turn some heads and maybe being able to provide an additional weapon for Justin Herbert. From what I've seen, and this is pure speculation on my end, man, but again, it's fun to speculate in this time of year, and it's fun to see and speculate the potential of these guys at this time of year. DeAndre Lambert Smith is not a small dude. He looks to me like, he's probably 6'1", 6'2" in that area, but his big body, presence does feel like something that Justin Herbert can utilize on the outside a little bit. He's got, again, that big body, the big speed along with that. 4.37, I think, was his official time, which is certainly one of the fastest on the team in terms of those weapons. That is pretty exciting, and it's something that I think the Chargers may benefit from this season. With Mike Williams leaving, maybe DeAndre Lambert Smith has an opportunity to step up and be that guy. And it's again one of those things that you see in terms of chemistry. He's been targeted several times, I think, by Justin Herbert, right? That's very valuable to me as a fan. If Justin Herbert is looking your way, that means you're getting open. That means he's being able to find you. And when you pair that up with the kind of speed he has and the kind of big arm Justin Herbert has, that's pretty exciting to think about. He also scored a touchdown in the first day of 7-on-7s, I do believe. So, yep, bigger than expected. His route running looks a lot smoother than I expected to start camp, too. I think DeAndre Lambert Smith could be a nice sleeper here for the Chargers as a guy to stretch the field. Maybe he's not the most, equipped X receiver option, but I think I want to see him on the field more than I thought before. Another option I'm going to say is maybe not a stretch, but it's definitely a dark horse here to provide some of what Mike Williams provided on this offense. I think it's going to start coming from the tight end position a little bit here, man. Let's take a look. Really, really quick, too. I did grab this clip of DeAndre Lambert Smith for some of you guys to see. So here comes Justin Herbert looking for a target. He's going to find number 84 is DeAndre Lambert Smith. Look at the way he catches the football. Yeah, it looks a little familiar, too. I like that. DeAndre Lambert Smith, nice option there. I think the tight end position is also going to be a sneaky position to start helping the Chargers not replicate Mike Williams, but find production in a similar manner, right? I think Tyler Conklin's going to really shock Chargers fans this year as a nice target for Justin Herbert. When you think about what Mike Williams was offering the offense, why not the tight end position in some way, shape, or form? He's not an X, but he's certainly an excellent big body target, right? He's a big tight end, a big dude. He's got an excellent contested catch rate. In 2023, it was 66.7, which was third among tight ends. And then the year before that, it was 69-point-something%, which was the first ranked among all tight ends. Tyler Conklin can be that 50-50 guy for Justin Herbert, which he's needed from the tight end position for a long, long time. So I would say Tyler Conklin is an excellent option if you're looking for that guy to give you that part of what Mike Williams brought the offense. And another guy at tight end I think would be very exciting to start utilizing that way would be Oronde Gadsden. Not just from, the tight end position, but why not line him up outside a little bit? I looked it up. He lined up out wide 8.7% of his snaps. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it does tell us that he's capable. Again, he's not an X, but he's an excellent big body target. A lot of these things like Tyler Conklin. He's got an excellent contested catch rate with 60%. I think that was ranked fourth among tight ends in college football last season. And then on top of that, you add his speed, which at he ran a 4.62, which would have been third or fourth in the combine had he ran. It does add up to maybe we got somebody that we can move around a little bit. He's versatile. He can be a slot weapon. He lined up in the slot more than almost anybody. I think it was first or second in college football last year too. I don't know. We might have something here. The Chargers did this a little bit with Donald Parham. You guys remember that? They would line him up outside a little bit. Of course, we don't know what the success rate was there. But Oronde Gadsden could definitely be, in terms of size and in terms of athleticism and all that kind of stuff, you could bring a little bit of Mike Williams to the table, I think, and that makes me excited for how they're going to develop him and how they want to utilize him. That could be pretty cool. All right. Now, moving on to some other fun storylines in training camp day one. Trey Harris finally ends the holdout. For those of you guys that didn't know, Trey Harris was holding out to start this. Him along with, 30 other second-round picks. It's all because of the Yahoos. Was it in Houston and Cleveland? They gave their second-round picks fully guaranteed contracts, and everybody wanted it. Now, I don't have the details of the contract for Trey Harris, but he's back on the field. I actually saw this just before going in. And by the way, shout out to the username here on Twitter. It's Tuk Nguyen. Thank you so much for providing clips for the Chargers fans to enjoy here. But yes, Trey Harris is back. It's very important that he's here, considering the Chargers, lack of Mike Williams. I know that Najee Harris isn't started yet. There's a lot going on, right? And that the Chargers need as many guys as they can get in there. I think Trey Harris providing such a huge, maybe role this season now with Mike Williams gone. It was definitely important to get him in there. So Trey Harris, the holdout has ended. That is a huge, huge benefit to us going into day 2 of training camp at this point. What about Rashawn Slater, though? Still no word on him. He has reported, though, he is practicing, right? He's there. He's participating. He's maintaining that level of play and the work ethic that's given him, one of the best results at left tackle in the league so far. When is he going to get his contract extension? I don't know. But with the Chargers going into, Trey Harris, that's already ended. I would expect the Rashawn Slater to get done at some point here very soon. I was hoping it to be done, maybe a week or two ago before training camp, but it feels like it's not affecting his practice any, at least so far. But you want to see it get done sooner rather than later. I think a lot of us maybe have forgot about it. I certainly have. It still needs to get done. Let's get Rashawn Slater his new contract. Something also really fun before we move into some of the other stuff. The story that's been circulating on social media a lot has been Anakin's turn to the dark side. It's Anakin Skywalker Herbert, who has reported a training camp with red eyes. He looks like a vampire. He looks like Anakin Skywalker turning into Darth Vader. What he says is that he's been wearing these UV contacts in lieu of like a UV visor or whatever. I think he said something like he didn't like wiping the visor, so he decided to start using these contacts. And I do remember hearing a story with him, and it was Cam Dicker, right? I think both of these guys were walking around with these UV contacts, and they thought it was really funny. Anyway, that's what's going on here. If you see images of Justin Herbert with red eyes, those are UV contact lenses that you may even see in the season. I don't know. Maybe just during practice, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that definitely does give you the vibe that he's turned to the dark side. Some fun images and video coming in from the running back position. This is what I'm most interested in this season, man. You got some clips here of Amari and Hampton and Raheem Sanders day one. Of course, we don't have Najee Harris yet. He reported late due to an eye injury, but we do expect him to participate at some point, I would believe. Nothing official, but there's a lot talking about he'll be ready for this. This is looking sweet, man. Amari and Rocket Sanders, these guys standing out. You're starting to see what makes them special. Look how big they are, how fast and nimble these guys are. I saw a little bit of this with Gus Edwards last year in training camp, but these guys take it to a new level, which, again, we haven't seen much yet. Not much has emerged on social media in terms of clips and stuff like that, but I do fully expect to see some nice stuff from both of these guys, and they're going to hit the ground running pretty quick. I'm going to say in their rookie seasons. Yes, both of these guys. Hopefully Raheem Sanders, who's fighting a roster spot, will be able to provide the same. Last couple of things. The line is looking predictable so far. For those of you guys following the offensive line competition, there's a different configuration that we're going to see on and off. But right now, I think the first day we did see the initial configuration of Bozeman at center and Zion at guard. The plan right now, though, is still for a rotation, right? I think that in the spring you saw it like every other day. You saw, Zion in at center and Bozeman at guard, and then they would swap, right? It sounds like Harbaugh wants to commit to one of these configurations as soon as he can, so they can get the most out of training camp. And he did mention that Zion Johnson is definitely good at competition there. You need somebody that's got a high, motor in terms of their processing in order to play the position, and everybody's praised Zion Johnson for for his skill set in that area. So we'll have to wait and see. I still think it's going to be Bozeman at center, Zion at guard, but hopefully that addition of Mekhi Becton will help smooth a lot of things out in there. And they also did talk a little bit about Trey Pipkins and their desire to keep him at swing tackle, let him focus on being a swing in the event that we need to call upon him. They want him to be ready for that. So there you go. We also have a linebacker battle going on right now. Of course, I think Dan Henley is the safest out of all linebackers right now on the team to be your starter, but it's mainly between Perryman and Colson, which you're going to see, I think, a healthy rotation everywhere. I mean, Henley's turned into one of the best coverage linebackers in football. You're going to see him on the field quite a bit. You'll see Perryman, I have to believe, in a lot of downs, versus the run, and Colson can definitely start ascending in the next couple of days or weeks. So I would keep an eye on number 25. Perryman's always going to be Perryman, another big hitting, Mike linebacker. But that's also a camp battle to keep an eye on. Lastly, one thing I think is very exciting too, and I think it's indicative of how the Chargers have been building this team. And I wanted to put it out there as a good example of what to expect from the Chargers in terms of depth this year. Defensive back depth is looking awesome, right? The Chargers have done a really good job at building that this offseason. On the first team, you saw at safety Alohi, Derwin, of course, and Tony Jefferson. And then at corner, you saw Still and Hart on the outside with Derwin playing nickel. That initially looks really, really good, right? This corner looks awesome to start the year off. The second team looks really solid too, though. You got Dante Jackson and Benjamin St. Juste on the outside with Jasir and nickel. That looks pretty good to me, man. Of course, you're going to see some of the depth at safety that we have all over the place there too. You're finding that at several different positions on the roster this year. So if anything, I'm just going to say depth is probably some of the best I've seen in a long time as a Chargers fan. So you guys let me know. I'm keeping an eye on day 2 of training camp as we speak. Very exciting stuff. We're going to touch base on that early next week. Maybe a little bit during Sim Sunday this weekend as well. But we're off to a really good start. I think there's some bumps in the road that we weren't expecting. The Mike Williams things is really huge. But we're also seeing things happen like Trey Harris returning. We're hopefully going to see this Rashawn Slater contract. I know they made some offensive tackle signing and stuff as well. Are we done seeing some moves from the Chargers? Is Scary Terry on his way over? Is there another wide receiver signing that could happen? You guys let me know some of the moves you think the Chargers could be making as we're getting into training camp. Of course, only a few weeks away from that first game, Hall of Fame game on is it the 31st of July? Man, I'm getting so excited. Football is practically. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you like what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We'll see you next time. As always, bolt up and stay frosty.